Hi, I'm Cass. Welcome to Life Updates with Cass. And today we have James Din. Please introduce yourself.
So hi, I'm James Din. I'm a software engineer at Journal Engineering. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Excellent. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience with LearningFuze? Has LearningFuze prepared you for your current job?
So to kind of give you a little background on kind of my experiences leading up to LearningFuze. Before kind of enrolling full-time in the boot camp, I was a high school and middle school history teacher. And I didn't know too much about programming, but leading up to the boot camp, I did some very basic online courses to teach myself JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, and that really kind of sparked my interest and passion in programming. And I was taking what I was learning, and I was working at a dual immersion computer science school where I was starting to teach computer science to the middle school kids. So I was taking what I learned and teaching to the kids, and I absolutely just fell in love with just programming and coding, and I realized that I wanted to do it full time and kind of make that my career, because I was having a lot more fun with that. Even though I love what I was doing as a teacher, but I love the programming aspect of it a lot more. So ultimately, I made the leap and had a couple options, but I definitely thought LearningFuze was kind of the best route to go down and most efficient route. And had so many great things to kind of say about LearningFuze. I know I was asked a lot in a lot of interviews, what LearningFuze did to prepare me for kind of, my job as a software engineer, as a developer. And, you can learn all these languages and frameworks, which LearningFuze does a great job of doing. But I feel like the most important takeaway of my experience at LearningFuze is kind of the ability to be able to learn things on the fly, learn new things, be able to adapt, be able to work in teams, work with other developers, just be a great person to work with, enhancing any company that you kind of go into and read their documentation and be able to kind of get up to speed. And I feel like that's something that is very underrated. And I feel like that's kind of what I took away from LearningFuze and the coding bootcamp experience I had during that time.
Very nice. That's awesome. So what was your job search process like?
What was my job search process like? That's a good question. So after the boot camp, so I finished, I believe, like the first day of February. So kind of on day one of, finishing the boot camp, I wanted to continue to grind and continue to take LearningFuze did a great job. Cass did a great job of looking over my resume, kind of putting me in a position to succeed. And definitely, I felt like I had that. I also built my portfolio in the week or two after the boot camp, and kind of that experience of kind of refining my technical skills, being able to talk about what exactly I know or projects I worked on. I took that to the job search experience to start sending out resumes. I started going to networking events. I had a lot of fun going to networking events, meetups. I feel like that's a very underrated aspect of the tech field. Is I feel like there's a lot of social events. I feel like people don't talk about that enough. So I had a lot of fun doing that.
Do you have a favorite networking event you've attended so far?
Favorite networking event? There's a bunch. I had a lot of fun at the happy hour ones. But yeah, you meet other developers who are they're trying to, it's a casual environment, but you can kind of talk about their lives, but also their lives as a developer as well. And being a younger kind of developer, you're able to kind of pick the brains of those who have been in the field longer, whether it's coding bootcamp graduates or full-on comp sci students. They all want to kind of share their knowledge and their wealth, and I feel like that was like a really great experience. And yeah, and then LinkedIn, very important. I know that it's tough to have a LinkedIn presence. I can definitely understand why it might be tough to write an article or to write a comment, because it feels kind of I guess weird in a sense to do that type of stuff. But I feel like it's very important, and I feel like that's what helped me the most to find a job, was to be active on LinkedIn, be able to, kind of, I feel like employers want to know what their potential developers and engineers are like as a person. So I feel like writing an article, having them kind of, like have that article talk about myself before they even reached out to me was such an important kind of aspect to the job search.
Right. So then what would you say what helped you, I guess, spark your writing process, like writing a LinkedIn article or a blog?
Yeah, that's a great question. What sparked? Definitely. Yeah, writing articles is really tough. Like, I can definitely, I can empathize with people who say that, expressing their feelings and sharing what they want to write about is really difficult. I definitely drawn on my past experiences. I feel like just throughout my life, I've worn a lot of different caps when it comes to careers. So like I talked about being a teacher, a middle school teacher, and then a high school teacher, and then I was also like a basketball coach. And I thought that was, that was a really good starting point to talk about, the skills I developed as a person outside of, being a engineer, being as a teacher, is, what skills can carry over just like in any field of me as a person. I felt like that's a really good kind of aspect that, you don't need to, whether you're actually an engineer or you're a manager, you're an owner, like you can kind of appreciate, have like a person who's easy to work with, or a person who is hardworking, or they're dedicated, or, they empathize. That, I feel like those are traits that any field would appreciate.
Right, that's true. So then what is your typical day-to-day life currently?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question, because we're in a really weird time right now. But so I have a very small engineering team. My lead developer is he works remote in a kind of different time zone, and I try to wake up early to match that, just so I can get that mentorship. I can get that just time to just build a relationship, communicate. Just kind of we're on the same wavelength. So that's kind of been my experience. I've been completely remote. I'm really looking forward to the company I work out is based out in Fullerton, and I'm really looking forward to the days where we can actually go in and interact as a team. The rest of the team that works out of their brick and mortar, it isn't the engineering team. It's like the other kind of the other fields of the company. But I definitely looking forward to going out and actually working out of there.
Mm-hmm.
But they've given me the opportunity to work remote if I really wanted to. But I definitely see a lot of value in seeing people every single day, building a relationship with people. I feel like it breaks up the monotony of kind of staring at a computer screen. Even though we love what we do, but it's nice to get that human interaction every so often.
Yeah, especially since you found a position during quarantine.
Mm.
What do you think was encouraged you throughout the process of the job search process?
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that's a really weird kind of. It's a weird experience. I feel like it's not very typical. That's why I really appreciate what happened. Really blessed about being able to find a job during this whole situation, this crisis. What really kept me through it was just think about how far I've gotten. I've come since that experience of being a teacher, and how far um, I was like a history teacher like 8 months ago, and things have gone like so fast, and I've grown so much since that time. And I basically like coded every single day. I really didn't take a day off. And what kept me going was just thinking about how much more I can learn, how far I've come. I got very close to a lot of other different jobs, and I just kind of tasted what it felt like to be a developer, and I got so close, and I kept wanting to push through. And sometimes you just need a little luck on your side, and I feel like luck comes to those who work hard. So I feel like something finally came out of it, and yeah, I mean that's what kind of kept me going.
Nice. So, what are your key takeaways for someone who's in the job search process now?
Takeaways. Someone in the job search process. Yeah, I've been asked by a couple of the I guess younger alumni, kind of pick my brain about like kind of what the process was like to find a job. And like I said, I'm really lucky and really blessed to be able to find a job within a couple months after graduating. I feel like there's a lot to it. I mean it's not very let's see here. I feel like you need to be well rounded when it comes to
Mm.
being able to find a job. Like it's great to be the best programmer in the world, but if you're not able to communicate well, then those things won't get picked up. You know, that will showcase itself later on, but you need to get there, right? I had a I'm not sure like how typical like other engineering positions were, but a lot of mine were behavioral questions.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of you know, the owner wanted to just, you know, talk to me as a person to see how I was, if I was a culture fit. And I feel like that's very important for a lot of these smaller companies, I feel. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's why I feel like a lot of the mid-sized to smaller companies want to see if you're a
Right.
culture fit. Because the technical skills, you know, you can read documentation, you can be mentored, you can get up to speed if you work hard enough. But like if you're hard to work with, or if you're not like if you know they want to see if they can work with someone 10 to 12 hours a day, you know, be in the same room, work next to someone, you know, shoulder to shoulder. So that's very important. Yeah, code every day. I feel like that's a given. I feel like most of the LFZ bootcamp grads, you know, they know that they need to code, build projects, do code challenges every day. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that LinkedIn, um, yeah, just
Are you
practice.
still keeping your squares green?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my squares green.
So then are you
It's
working on side projects like besides work?
right now, no. I'm definitely very swamped. My first week of I cranked out some really long hours this week.
Mm.
Because
Don't
I'm
forget
really
to
trying
sleep.
to yeah, like I said, I'm waking up early so I can match my my lead developer's time
Yeah.
zone because I'm trying to build that relationship with him. But yeah, I mean, I have been just pushing some commits like to give myself some reminders on GitHub. I have a repo that I've kind of shared with a couple people of like, you know, what steps I took to be able to find a job and what motivated me to continue
Oh,
to
cool.
job search process. So I've been adding to that some articles, links that I like, that I really appreciate from other people. So
Mm-hmm.
that's been giving me the commits, but side projects not yet. I've just been full on just grinding at work, and but yeah, I mean, it's been very exciting. It's my first week. I definitely feel like, you know, the I don't know. It feels too good to be true. Sometimes it feels too real. I feel like, you know, of course, you know, especially people who aren't in the boot camp, who haven't enrolled yet, for future students, it really feels like, you know, can you become an engineer in just a couple of months? Like how sounds unrealistic, and for me to kind of be like in that position for it to happen so quickly, it just doesn't feel real. And it's like yeah, I don't know, like I feel like if someone asked me like about the boot camp, like outside at like a networking event or something, then I would definitely like preach like I was like, you know, like a testimony, like I was able to get where I wanted to get, you know. But of course,
Right.
you need to work hard. You need to grind. Like, yeah. I mean, that's the advice I got from other alumni. You know, when I first started, was like, hey, like you need to love this to, you know, to be in this field, like to make it, like. And they were kind of like questioning me, like, you know, trying to see if I'm actually dedicated. Like, are you about this life? You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah. And then yeah, it's been great. I've had a lot of fun. Everyone in the field is just so encouraging. And yeah, that's kind of been my experiences thus far.
Nice. And then, well, how much time would you say you dedicated, I guess, per week to the job search process?
The job search process. Yeah. I honestly, I don't think I took a day off since the boot camp ended. And I know like uh, you're encouraged to like take like a week off or chill so you won't get burnt out. But I was just so fixated on like trying to find a job, and I had this kind of like I wouldn't say saying, but just kind of just this philosophy is like you need to beat other people to the spot. You know what I mean? Like you need to be, and I know TJ would appreciate that too. Like just being, one of the first people to kind of get to a position. And that's what I feel like a lot of hiring managers talked about when I was interviewing, was like, they appreciated the fact that like, when I interviewed, and if I had a great interview, I would send an email like within 24 hours. They appreciated that. If I got a coding challenge, I would try to get it in before the deadline, like 2, 3, 4 days before the deadline. If I were asked to take an assessment, to try to make sure to do it right after the phone call or right after the email, because these hiring managers, they got things to do.
Yeah.
They're trying to fill these spots. Like, so you need to beat other people to the spot. Like if you want this to happen, like you need to make it happen. You're in control of it. And of course, like I feel like I'm very lucky to get this position so quickly. But like I feel like, yeah, like I said earlier, like luck just comes to those who are prepared, who work hard, and there's at the end of the day, just things gotta fall for you. And yeah, I mean that's kind of what my job search experience is like.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on. Wait. So, do you want?
Yeah.
Thanks again for joining us on Life
Updates
Updates
with
with
Kaz.
Kaz.